welcome you again to our session today. And for the audience, Biraj sir today will be telling about how construction can be done in stilt plus four building. He specializes in civil construction in Gurgaon. Has been doing it along with his team for more than 10 years now. Uh, Biraj sir, before we start, could you give us a small brief as to what you exactly do in this part of the industry?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let me introduce you to our expertise. We are into construction of all types of building, that is right from residential. It could be still plus four, villas, bungalows, flats, etc. And also into commercial, that is shops, restaurants, resorts, hotels, warehouses, and more. We normally uh, do new construction, but we have been efficiently doing some restoration of old dilapidated structures like those in GK or such places, that is old buildings of 50, 60, 70 years old. We have tried to give them adequate strength and make them beautiful spaces which are now competing with the most contemporary. As far as the business models are concerned, we have three different options mainly. One is the turnkey. In this case, if you have a plot or land, we do the complete construction, right from designing to the interiors and handing over the keys. This is basically a contractual arrangement. Then is collaboration, wherein the client has the plot, but due to some reason, doesn't want to spend money on construction. In such cases, we work out the financials and make the building on profit sharing basis. And third is partnership, wherein there are, say, three or four families who want to have an independent building, which with a floor each to each family. We do it for them. Just in case the fourth family is not there, only there are three families, then we pitch in financially and then we work it out as to how we cater for the financials. Over a period of time, clientele has grown exponentially, and which includes respected individuals from all walks of life. Apart from being in construction, we have our in-house team for architecture, interior designing and implementation, as also for government-related approvals, etc. So we are like a one-stop shop for everything.
Okay. So thank you for this impressive background and what you exactly do. My question would be, sir, that why should I construct at all? When there are so many apartments available, it's much easier to just buy and move into an apartment. So why should I look at doing any kind of construction?
This is a question which normally comes to everybody's mind who's interested in buying a house or a residential unit for himself or herself. There are various reasons. Firstly, whatever type of building you buy, that is, I'm talking of flats, apartments, or villas even, you will spend something like 10 to 20% of the purchase price of that in renovating and remodeling it as per what you want. Then the normal cost of construction is such that you can make the same house at 20 to 25% less, because the builder has made that house and he has made it to earn profits. So if you make the same thing, you will be making around 20-25% of savings. Then any builder, I will not name anybody, but if you go to any builder's building, that is a huge ones. I'm talking of something like what you have in the Dwarka Expressway, that highways massive structures coming in. The construction quality is generally a bit wanting. Chintal, you must have heard of, where the floor collapsed, is one of them, but there are many like that. Plus, the material which they use and the designing which they do is not as per what is most suitable for you. You may like to have some additional rooms like a puja room or a storeroom or a utility area. You have to remodel your already made house there. Then again, in case you are making your own stilt plus four, you have the advantage of having your friends and families within that own building. Whereas in any high rise or builder floors of that type, you will not be able to decide who your neighbor is, and neighbors are considered to be the first family in case of any problem. Then there is no unending wait for possession. You may talk of RERA or whatever. You can check any builder in the complete NCR. No builder gives the possession in time even today, and there are always reasons for delaying it and causing you further harassment and problems. So if you can make your building yourself, it's really worth the effort. But then you have to take a decision whether you want to uh, spend that type of money and get what you want, or you can take an easier way of going for an apartment, and that's also a workable option.
Okay, sir, I don't dispute the advantages which you have listed, but at the same time, making a building is not. I mean, those are the पहले होता होगा कि लोगों के पास में बिल्डर्स के ऑप्शन नहीं थे, खुद बना लेते थे. Yeah, but now making a building, there are a lot of compliances. Even if I'm doing my own, the industry has changed many fold. It's a very arduous task. It's not easy to construct. I mean, it takes time, it takes effort, and by no stretch of imagination, it is an easy task.
You're perfectly right. It is a very difficult task, and that is why you should go in with professionals. You should work with guys who have got some credential and work out in a detailed manner. Firstly, you have to go in for the planning for the entire thing. If you have a plot already, there's no problem. But if you don't have a plot, then you have to plan for plot selection, which in our case we aid in that also. And for plot selection, your location matters a lot. Who is the broker? How will you check the papers? All these things matter a lot. Thereafter, you should go in for selection of your architect. Once you've decided this is my plot, then you have to work out an architect. An architect is extremely important because he will be transforming your dream home into a tangible home, something which you're thinking of, which you have been living for, that I should have a house like this. She will be able to do what you have been thinking of. So make a very, very deliberate effort in selection of an architect. Then she would also ensure that architect will ensure that financially optimized quality should be ensured in that building construction, and she will help you in selecting a builder. Builders are of various types, and most of you are aware of what is happening in the market. But only one thing I would like to say is that most of us know what is L1. And if you go in for L1, you know what is the quality they will produce. It's like for a wedding attire, you don't go to Pantaloons, you go to Manevar or Meena Bazaar. So similarly, for your own house, you should be going to a builder who is a quality builder. Then you have to plan as to how much time it will take. Roughly for a still plus 4, it should take, after the design has been finalized, around 18 months. So total time will be somewhere around 18 to 24 months for your building. You should again sit with the architect and work out as to what you want in that building. Do you want only 1 floor, 3 floors, still with 4 floors? Do you want a basement, or whatever is the feature you want in the building? So that this planning part I'm talking of just now. And you want a kitchen garden or a garden or lawn, all these things you have to work out with an architect. And the architect, the basic quality of an architect is to gather all the inputs from you and give you an output which is suitable both to your budget and to your liking. Then when you come to the construction stage, you have to you have to ensure that the design which you have finalized with the architect is being followed. The construction is monitored, that the quality controls, cost escalations are not taking place. Your time overruns have to be catered for. Your material, and there will invariably be situations wherein midway you like to add something or reduce something. It is a very, very normal thing which we have found with almost all the clients. because when we are talking with you about the quality of not the quality, the design and other things, at that time you might not have thought of a particular thing, and midway if you're going through it, you will be able to understand that there are some changes which you might like to bring in, and that is what we cater for, and we implement those with, obviously there will be some financial implication. If it is minor, it doesn't matter, but if it is major, there will be some changes.
Sir, since you're talking about financial implications, and I am by profession someone who deals in investments, uh, and when we had started the talk, you mentioned about partnerships, oblique collaborations. So, just for the sake of discussion, let's say we assume them to be one thing. Now, let us say if any of my client is interested in putting in some money and collaborating and making some money by being a co-developer with you, then what are the financials in the sense? What is the average construction price, or sorry, the cost of construction one should be looking at? Something which is good, but
Mhm.
not too over the top, and which can be sold at a decent profit margin.
You know, there was a dialogue in the movie Dirty Picture. So similar, there is a dialogue in the real estate industry. You are well aware of it. Location, location, location. The location matters a lot. Now, uh, if you are making a, if you're planning to do a collaboration in, say, DLF, then there is a different model which you follow. If you want to make a collaboration in somewhere around Hero Honda Chowk or that area, there will be a different collaboration model. And similarly, if you're making in Noida or Greater Noida. Now, coming to the financials, roughly a middle income quality of house will cost you somewhere between 2,500 to 3,000 furnished. Advantage is that if there are two or three people who are into it, and they are able to draw proper legal documents wherein the interest of everybody is taken care of, we do go in for like that, or collaboration like that. In that, everybody puts in a particular amount of money, and we go into buy a plot. A simple thing is that if you buy a plot in DLF, the plot will be costlier and the cost of construction will be more. If you buy a plot in a Huda sector like, say, 50, 51, 57, 56, etc., the cost of the plot is comparatively cheaper. It is much cheaper if you further go to Dwarka Expressway. Now, what is the cost of the plot is the initial investment, because nobody will give you a plot on installments. So suppose you're buying a 200 square yard plot for, say, uh, 2.5 CR, and there are three partners. So roughly around 85 lakh rupees per person will have to shell out. And this will be required to be paid in, say, 2-3 months, because by the time you negotiate, you work out and things, 2 months or so it will take. Thereafter, the construction cost total is divided into, say, a period of 12 months to 18 months, depending. We prefer to do it in 12 months, because less than 12 you cannot do, as we have to have certain mandatory time lag between constructing the footing to the DPC to the floor, first floor, second floor, third, fourth, like that, because you have to leave uh, the shuttering and the supports for 10 to 15 days, depending upon the weather. In summers it is less, in winters it is more. So suppose your cost of construction is working out to be 1.5 CR for a 200 square plot. So you should plan for around 20% ab initio and around 20% every 4 months or so. So that is the financial breakdown of the entire thing.
Okay. So just to re-summarize what you said, if it is 2.5 CR for the plot and 1.5 CR for the construction, then the 2.5 CR is needed upfront,
Upfront.
and the balance 1.5 can be divided into 20% packets every three
Four
odd
months or
months,
so.
2 to 3 months for a 12-month construction. So
Yeah, that's
basically,
right.
5 installments for
Yeah,
a 12 to 15 months of construction.
that's right. There is a spur type of cost which incurs. Initially, there's a heavy cost, Thereafter, it is graduated, and for the finishing, again there is heavy cost, because when you buy, say, tiles for the entire building, it is cheaper, but then it is a bulk expense. Similarly, if you want to buy the sanitary items, so there are, say, 12 toilets. If you buy the items together, it will be cheaper than if you buy per floor. So that is why it is in spurts at times.
Okay. And the expected ROI on an annualized basis with this kind of investment?
The
Approximately, I
ROI,
don't know very fine numbers. Ballpark.
we consider as normal escalation, normal inflation, and other things. So an ROI of 20% is very, very possible. But if the like last to last year, the cost of the plot was much cheaper. Cost of plot in, say, sector 46, where we made one building, was around 70,000 rupees a square yard. Today the same is 145, 140. So if you hit such type of luck, then it's a different case. Then you will be able to make around 40-45% profit. But in a normal system, like if you buy today, so this inflation in the cost of plots is not likely to be, say, continuing. It will be stranded for some time. So you will be able to make around 20 to 25% of profit. It depends a lot on how you plan. Then it also depends upon whether there is breakage in the construction. I'm talking of the breakage of work. Suppose there is an COVID. So when COVID happened, or anything like a pollution ban takes place for 2 months, then it wastes your 3 months, because the entire labor force goes back home, then they come back, and it takes time for them to get into action again. Plus, there is a lot of wastage of things which were kept at the site. So all these things, if they do not happen, then comfortably 20% you will make. And the advantage is that if you hold it, you may be able to make more. And if you're making for yourself, obviously you're saving those 20-25%.
All right. Sir, I am very thankful for this. So I'll summarize what you have said. You have said that in a project right from inception, that is right from, okay, sorry, that reminds me one more question I should be asking you is, what about the legal approvals and also?
There are a whole lot of legal approvals which are required. Normally, what people think is that they will go to the office of Buddha or any other office and get the things made, paper done. But they make you run, in spite of the everything coming onto the electronic media. There are ways and means where the lower level clerical staff, especially, they try to play with you, the JEs and all, so that you do not you are not able to get the clearances in time. You are delayed, and finally you end up driving. We handle the entire thing, and it starts right from the beginning. I'll tell you, like when you buy a plot itself in Haryana, there have been so many cases wherein the plot papers themselves was itself fake. So people have made a house also on the plot, and then there's somebody else who has claimed it. So one of the starting thing is getting your legal paper that is documents of the conveyance deed, others checked legally and vetted. Then when you start thinking of the construction, after you finalize the design, you have to have the approvals from the government authority. It starts with demarcation of the plot by the JE, or if it is a society, the society guy will, that is, if it is a builder society like Vipul World or Unitech or Upal Southern, the guy will come and demarcate it. You'll have to apply for a temporary electrical connection, a temporary water connection. You'll have to apply for the building plan has to be approved. They may raise some questions, and you'll have to give the suitable replies. You will have to have your conveyance deed, your possession letter from the society, the plot boundary letter from the society, the sale deed, chain of buyers, buyer builder agreement, builder buyer agreement. All these papers are required. Once you start constructing, before that, you'll also need sewage connection at places they give now, or in Huda plots they give you after you have completed. Subsequently, you'll have to have a certification for DPC, rainwater harvesting, health department, PHC. Then you'll have to have, from, if you are installing a lift, the lift certification is required. water connection, they need one connection, and one is for certification. So the water connection is giving, you have to get a certification for a clearance for road cutting. And once your building is ready, you have to give a completion certification. Then based on the completion, you will be able to get your permanent electricity, permanent water, permanent sewage connection. So there are a lot of paperwork even today, in spite of everything. And if the building is on a bigger plot and a high rise, that is more stories, then you'll have to have fire safety certification also done.
ये
So all
सारी
the,
जो श्रृंखला है ये आप पूरा करवा देते हैं.
so ये सारा चीज we do it for our clients, and obviously it will cost. So we charge whatever is the cost which we have to incur with the guys who get laser guy who do these jobs.
So I'll summarize what you said. If there is a plot and let's say if like-minded people can get together, put in some money, then you're capable of executing a project.
Yeah, that's right.
Still plus.
So
Four,
basically, one has to have mental mobility or mental matching. That is, I am comfortable with you and you are comfortable with me, working together, and we have got reasonable degree of understanding and faith. Then only this works out. Because however much you may document, there will always be lacuna where and something will get in. Like we have been making buildings on collaboration, and I make only when it is I am comfortable with the client.
understood, sir. So as far as I am concerned, मुझे ये समझ आया कि ढंग से करेंगे तो इसमें सालाना 15 से 20% का नफा निकल सकता है.
हाँ, that's right.
Which is not a bad deal if one is able to do it consistently. Then this is all in a time bound manner most of the time.
Yeah, and Vipul, I'm also talking of quality construction, because normally the builders who want to make and sell, the profit margins can increase, but we hire a structural engineer to ensure that the quality is good. I'll just share you some things which you may be able to, the audience may be able to understand.
So,
Like when we make buildings,
so
I'll just share with you. If you see this, there are 4 pillars here, and there are a couple of pillars. No builder does it this way. If you make a building like this, like we have done in Sector 46, this building can withstand an earthquake of around 7. Okay. Similarly, we always join 2 pillars at least. Otherwise, one could have made 4 feet by 4 feet, and this would have been one, and the other one would have been separate. So this is how you incur costs which are actually worth it. Because tomorrow, if something happens, then it will not be worth it.
this kind of a construction withstands more pressure and it's more sturdy.
Because any stress on this pillar will be also taken load by this pillar, and similarly by this pillar. So he was the client whose building we had made in collaboration, and this is how we did it. Now, like when you make a facade like this also adds on to the cost. But then this gives you some look and feel. It gives a different, like this entire structure which is there, it is costly. This entire thing which has come out like a studio, these cost, this flower arrangement sort of a thing, all these things cost, corner windows. So what I'm trying to tell is that all these things cost, and it totally depends. When you're making for yourself, you would like to spend something which you have saved by not buying a flat in improving. But when you're selling, you can cut down some costs, but not all costs.
So without any compromises on the quality and developing a good reputation, one can still earn decent money.
Yeah, that's right.
Which kind of pays for itself in the long run. Which will pay for itself in the long run.
Yeah, that's right. Because this building will last without any major structural problem for next 15-20 years at all. There will be no problem at all. Whereas if you make a weaker building, then it starts having cracks here and there. Normal maintenance will be required in any building, whatever you may do. And that is why we have got a Hindu custom of every Diwali you do chuna and all. So it takes care of any problem which is getting into the building. and you nip it at the bud rather than waiting for it to spoil the entire building.
Awesome.
You gotta focus on yourself, on your faith, on your dreams, on your mind, on your health, yeah. You gotta work, never tell, keep your head down.